Today we got a story of a teacher who actually tries to sue their 13-year-old student for bullying them online. Like, imagine that as a teacher, you get so mad that some kid says something mean about you that you actually try and sue them. This is a pretty crazy story time, so sit back, relax, subscribe if you're new, leave a like in the video to claim your free nothing, and let's jump into it. So we're going to call the subscriber who submitted this story Colin. So Colin was in 6th grade, and in one of his classes, he had this teacher who we're going to call her Miss Sensitive because, bro, if you're actually out here trying to sue a 13-year-old kid for calling you mean names online, then you deserve the name of Miss Sensitive. So we're going to call the teacher Miss Sensitive, bro. Yeah, so anyways, Colin, the subscriber, had a friend, and we're going to call this friend Ben. So anyways, Ben kind of self-identified as a roast god. Ben was definitely the type of guy to have no chill, as some people might say, and go after literally anyone. He was still like a cool dude to be around. I don't know. I feel like definitely in like middle school, like a lot more kids are ruthless, but they're not bad people. They just think like to be cool, they got to be ruthless or whatever. But the thing is, right, Ben was like, at least he wasn't going up to kids and roasting them, being like, damn, bro, those shoes look terrible, bro. Or wow, man, like you should invest in some deodorant. That'd be the best investment for you, bro. Like he's not doing stuff like that. But anyways, they all have a class together and they have it with Miss Sensitive. So anyways, Miss Sensitive was a slightly larger woman. There's literally nothing wrong with that, man. I mean, you lived your life, bro. That's all I'm going to say. So on this fateful day, Miss Sensitive was going around and decided to give out a pop quiz. I've never actually received a quote-unquote pop quiz before. I've always been informed before I have an assessment. I just think it makes a lot more sense if you're gonna assess someone, like if you're gonna give them a quiz or a test, at least give them an opportunity to study for it. Like I get that you're trying to check if they've been doing the work, but at least give them a heads up. I just think pop quizzes are kind of dumb. But anyways, Miss Sensitive decided that today was the day that she was gonna give out a pop quiz. And this also happened to be the day that Ben just didn't do the reading. I know for a lot of classes, like English-type classes where you have to do a lot of reading or whatever, that, look, man, you're not going to do the reading every single day. I know that I don't do the reading every single day. And it's kind of like you got to do like a little risk-reward. Like, if you don't do the reading, you have more time, but then again, you also have a chance of going in and getting absolutely owned by the test or quiz or whatever, right? Or just like I don't know, she'll like call in you to be like, oh, so Jimmy, what happened in chapter 7? You're like, I think chapter 7 happened in chapter 7. Like I get it, right? But, Ben kind of took the risk and he kind of got owned. So sure enough, like, Ben got probably like an F on the quiz or a 0 or just didn't like get good points on the quiz. He definitely knew that he didn't do well. And Colin was sitting next to him, and Ben was, like, very visibly, like, angry. Like, he was just, like, really, like, PO'd by the whole situation. So Colin is kind of like, yo, dude, like, you good. Ben's like, bro, Miss Sensitive is literally the worst. And Colin's like, yeah, that pop quiz was pretty unfair. So Colin did kind of feel like, okay, that pop quiz was kind of out of left field. I don't know why she did it, but I mean, hey man, it is something. She did say that like she will sometimes pull out pop quizzes on the reading, especially if she feels like people were not or had not been doing enough of the reading, right? Like, or, so she said it was something that she might do. So in all fairness, bro, like Ben didn't do the reading and he kind of just paid the consequences, but bro was still pretty upset. Yeah, so, Ben was like, no, dude, like, Miss Sensitive is literally the worst teacher ever. Like, she sucks. And Colin's like, yeah, whatever, right? Like, yeah, I kind of agree with you. Miss Sensitive overall was kind of a mid teacher. Like, she just, I don't know, dude. Like, she would always, like, have these kind of, like, she would be, like, one of those English teachers that was, like, kind of, like, super arrogant in everything that she said. Kind of had this weird, pretentious entitlement about it. Like, she's like, oh, and what the author really meant here was insert something that just never happened. Like, I swear to God, like, English teachers will read a sentence, the book is read, and they'll be like, well, what the author meant by this is that the book has depth and perspective. Like, no, dude, maybe the book was just read. I swear to God, if you actually were able to bring back these authors from the grave and bring them back and be like, hey, man, so what did you mean by this? They'd be like, oh, well, can you not read, dummy? Like, the book is read. I said the book is read because the book is read. And the English teacher would be like, no, but I thought it meant that, like, yeah, so, this teacher was kind of like that anyways, but Colin also just was like, okay, that's like all English teachers. However, when they got home from school, they had this really big grade group chat. So people had little group chats with each other, maybe Discord messages, be along the lines of that. But they also had a really big group chat that had basically everyone in the class. So they had like a class-wide group chat. I think I said grade-wise. I meant to say class-wide. So Colin got back home. He was just kind of chilling, doing his thing. And he like picks up his phone and looks at it. And he sees that there's a new message in the, the class-wide group chat. So they made that a while ago when they started the class, just, because they're like, okay, if we have any issues or if someone forgets the homework or whatever, it's probably just a good idea to have everyone together in communication. But it wasn't used casually. Like, this group chat wasn't a group chat that you would go in and just, like, I don't know, drop, like, anyone want to play duos on, like, Fortnite or something. Like, no one was going to go and chat and say something like that. However, Ben used this chat to vent his anger. Yeah, but however, so Colin checks his phone and he sees a message from Ben. He opens it up and he's like, he gets the message. It basically reads something along the lines of like, Miss Sensitive is annoying and fat. Like, it's just, I don't know. I think Ben was just really just PO'd that day. I think Ben was just genuinely annoyed, just so, like, annoyed by the fact that, like, he got called out for not doing the reading, which he's like, everyone doesn't do the reading. The one day I don't do it, we have a quiz, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. So he's like, yeah, Miss sorry, I always use Miss Davenport. Miss Sensitive is lame and fat and sucks. So, like, very childish insults, like, whenever you insult someone just based on their appearance, normally that means you really just can't, you have nothing better to, like, insult them on. Like, if you go for the appearance, bro, I don't know, kind of just like, oh, so you're not creative, or maybe you just don't have anything actually bad against them. But, Ben was just mad, and, like, someone replied with, like, the skull emoji, like, bro. Another person's like, yo, chill out. Like, people were like, all right, bro, like, calm down. But, like, not a lot of people chatted. It wasn't like, oh, my God, he called her fat. It's like, okay, it's a sixth grader, a.k.a. also the kid who was known, or not was known, but was the self-proclaimed roast god, so it wasn't as if this was out of left field for him. So most of the kids were like, all right, bro, chill out, whatever. And, yeah, Colin and Ben and everyone else in the class kind of thought that it was going to end there. However, somehow the chats got leaked. You know that meme where it's like me and the boys of the gamer chat got leaked and it's like all the people walking into the courtroom? Yeah, that's basically Ben here. Yeah, so somehow the chats got leaked. Because, and they got leaked within a day. So someone must have snitched real heavy or real quick. Because the next day they come in, and Miss Sensitive is looking all angry at all of them. Even though she knew who sent it, she was somehow, like, found a way to be mad at literally everybody. And was like, guys, we need to have a little talk before we start class. And at this point, Colin didn't realize that, Ben's message got leaked to her. So, like, Colin was, like, really confused. He was like, oh, did, like, everybody cheat or something, and then everyone got exposed for cheating, or what's the word? Like, what's going on here? I'm just really confused. So Colin sits down, and everyone else sits down, and she's like, guys, I want to let you know that words have impact, and that everybody is a person. So at first, Colin's like, oh, did someone, like, is there, like, a bullying issue? Like, I don't know, stuff like in middle school and high school, there will be a lot of, like, I don't know, a lot of, like, internal scuffles and bullying, and sometimes teachers will make, I don't know, this happened to me, actually. I didn't bully anyone, and I wasn't bullied, but I had to sit in on big meetings with the entire grade because one person was mean to another person, so I need to hear about it. Like, dude, I'm just a good individual. I'm just, like, a good little boy, I'm doing what I need to do, and I need to waste my time listening to, oh, don't be mean. Yeah, no, number two, Sherlock, bro. Like, of course you should be nice. Like, are you serious right now? This is how we're spending my time? Yeah, so, everyone was kind of just super confused because, Miss Sensitive was like, yeah, words hurt, whatever. And then she's like, and also, just so you know, your actions online and out of school can still get you in trouble in school. And at that point, Colin almost immediately realized what the situation was about. He was super confused, and still to this day, he doesn't know who leaked the group chat. But he was, like, super confused, like, oh, wait, I'm, like, 90% sure that Miss Sensitive is talking about what, like, Ben said, because, like, Ben dropped in the group chat that she's fat, lol, or whatever, because he was mad at her. But how on earth, like, did this happen? So Miss Sensitive continues to go on to be like, your actions out of school can have consequences in school, and, like, if, all this type of stuff, and says, like, you guys should learn to be nicer to other people. And while this was, like, kind of like a weird, awkward interaction, Like, I don't know about you, but it's always just so awkward when, like, the teachers would just, like, scold you in front of everyone, especially if it's, like, a group punishment. Like, I remember this one time back in 8th grade, like, some kid had, like, peeped into another kid's, like, stall while they're taking a number 2, and they, like, got mad about it or whatever. And this guy, like, this guy's, I'm sure he was just doing his job, but he brought the entire grade together, and he's like, guys, I'm so disappointed in everyone. I'm like, dude, I wasn't there. I was doing my math homework. I don't care if someone's being a little bit too curious and mega sus. Like, that's not on me, bro. Like, why are you disappointing in me? I'm doing what I need to do. Anyway, so yeah, while that whole interaction was a little bit weird, Colin just kind of assumed that the whole thing was going to end here. Like, Miss Sensitive was going to have a whole, like I'm mightier than thou, be nice to people speech or whatever, and it was going to end there. He would have never assumed that things were going to escalate, which they did. Yeah, so basically what ended up happening was Miss Sensitive was pretty upset about this, which, I mean, look, if someone is calling you insults, and maybe it's something that you are personally sensitive about, like, I can understand why you take that personally. However, also one thing, these are 6th graders. These are little kids. They don't, okay, not little kids, but these are kids that are still growing up. They're going to be mean. They're going to be cruel. And yeah, sure, reprimand them, whatever, right? But also realize you shouldn't take it that deep. Like when I read my comment section and someone's like, yeah, your videos are trash. And then I see their profile pic of some like anime profile pic. I go in their account and they're making like Roblox shorts. I'm like, bro, they're just a kid. Like, I don't really care, man. Like, you shouldn't care. However, Miss Sensitive was like really upset about this. So Miss Sensitive takes this whole issue to like, you know, the principal's office or whatever. And she was trying to get this kid like expelled. Like, apparently she was asking for some crazy punishment. Like, she was going for something really insane. I think the principal's office like, oh, well, okay, this kid said something pretty mean about you outside of school. There's not a lot we can do about that, but if you want to have like him come in and we force him to apologize to you or make him do some report about how, you know, bullying is bad and saying bad things is bad, or I don't even know. And, you know, the teacher must have been Miss Sensitive, was like, no, he needs to be expelled. This is unacceptable. There's no redemption. Which, like, no redemption, bro. Dude is like 13. What do you mean? He's got all of his life ahead of him. Like, what do you mean there's no redemption? Oh, a dude says something mean when he's 13? Nope, there's no going back. He's officially a bad individual. Nope, that's done. He's done for. Yeah, but apparently Miss Sensitive was really gunning for him to have a really, really bad punishment. And she was really upset by how she didn't get what she wanted. So I guess Miss Davenport decided to take the law into her own hands, or take the punishment into her own hands. This is where the title of the video becomes kind of integral to the story. Miss Davenport decides that she wants to try and open up an actual legal case against this kid for emotional damage. This is the most insane thing I've ever heard, by the way. So the way that they all learn this is probably one of the most inappropriate way. Okay, I don't mean like sus inappropriate. I mean like inappropriate, like just to do it. Just like, it's just so ridiculous. So the way that Colin and Ben and everyone else learns, and the way that Ben learns that there's a court case going to be against him, well, it doesn't get that far, as you guys will see, is in class. Basically, Miss Sensitive's like, you know what, guys, this is like a couple days later, guys, I want to teach you a little something. Sometimes the systems of law and governance, they don't do what needs to be done. So sometimes you need to take it into your own hands. And she then goes on to say, Ben, I know about the comment that you said to me. And Ben's like, what? Because I don't think Ben put 2 and 2 together. I think, so Colin was able to put 2 and 2 together, and he was able to realize that, okay, well, you know, I don't know, like, yeah, it was probably Ben's comment. That would make the most sense in the context, yada, yada, stuff like that. But I think Ben just was, like, completely oblivious. And he's like, what? So when she literally calls him out in front of all of his classmates, he was just so stunned that he was barely able to speak. Speak will be the secret word of the day. So if you made it this far into the video, comment speak in the comment section. And while you're in the comment section, check out the pinned comment on this video. There's a link to my Spotify page in which I upload all these stories as podcasts. And if you do listen to them if you do listen to these stories on Spotify as podcasts, it actually does help me out. And also, the second link in the pinned comment is to my second channel. I upload daily stories on there, but those are from Reddit, where these are from you. So if you just want more stories and you want to help me out, subscribe to that channel and check out some videos after this one. Anyways, let's get right back to it. So yeah, the teacher is legitimately like calling this kid out right now, like putting him on the spot. And yeah, it's pretty awkward to read. Like, Colin is like super like this is so awkward. He's just like, oh, this is so cringe. But Ben is like, oh my God. So she's like, yeah, I know what you said about me, Ben. She said, you called me fat and I'm super insecure about my weight. Like, okay, that's totally valid. Like, I know that like weight-based insults are pretty low blows because a lot of people deal with that stuff. Totally fair. But also, is the right context to do this? Like, is the right context to call this kid out in front of all of his classmates? Is that really the best way to go about this, Miss Sensitive? Are you serious right now? Like, yeah, sure. Pull this kid aside, be like, I know what you said, and just so you know, like, this could affect a lot of people if you use these insults about other people and they hear about it, it could really affect them. But no, let's call him out in front of the entire class. But it gets even worse. It gets even worse, man. It literally gets even worse. Because then she goes on to say, and I went to the administration and, you know, I wanted a fair punishment, but they were taking your side. They were just saying that you should apologize to me, or you should do like learning about, you know, harassment and bullying. And that is just simply not enough for what you did. The entire class is like frozen right now because they knew that Miss Sensitive was well, it's in the name, man, a little sensitive and a little weird and a little strange, but they were just like, oh my God, the overreaction on this is just insane. Yeah, so that's when Miss Sensitive decides to drop the bomb that, you know, she's like, you know what? You know, what you did to me was actually personal harassment and it caused mental damage. And like, okay, like it's kind of on you how you take this comment, especially remember, this is some kid and you're an adult, but whatever, right? And she's like, so I've decided that I will be opening up an official lawsuit against you for a mental, I forgot what I said earlier. It was what I said earlier. I don't think it was mental damage. It was like, emotional stress or something like that. Like, people actually have lawsuits about that. And maybe they're like legitimate circumstances, but I just feel like so many people could try and use quote unquote emotional trauma, emotional stress. Like, is that even something you can actually sue someone on? Like, I think the teacher didn't even do their research on this. So the whole class is like silent, but even more silent than before. Because at least before they were like, okay, whatever, this teacher's pretty weird. But now they're like, oh my God, like, wait, pause. You're gonna sue a kid? Huh? Like, did I hear you correct right now? Are my ears jammed? Is there something, am I hearing things wrong? Do I need to get my ears checked? Do I need to go to the doctor? Is there like a secret animal living inside my ears blocking the noise going to my eardrums? Like, am I actually hearing this? So yeah, obviously Ben was like, what? Which I mean, I totally get. And Colin, even though he was kind of saw some of this coming, did not for a millisecond ever see this coming. Not even the slightest possibility. You know how you guys kind of like think about stuff really hard and you think, oh, well, there's like a 1% chance that this will happen. Like, you know, I don't know, you know this girl, and there's like, oh, there's a 1% chance that she would actually, you know, like me. And then, you know, it's so ridiculous that it never happened. But this is like a 0% chance of happening. This wasn't even on the books. This wasn't even on the possibility list. This wasn't even like, I don't know, man, like, how could you come up with this? Even some random number generator or some random idea generator couldn't come up with something this random and insane. So obviously everyone's like, whoa. And then Miss Sensitive's like, all right, well, we're going to go back to teaching class because enough of class time has been used to talk about this. It's like, bro, huh? Yeah, so this was pretty crazy. And I love how, like, Miss Sensitive literally is like, oh, well, we've been wasting so much class time on this. Bro, you set the class schedule. You choose what we do. You brought this up. You're suing the kid. Like, why are you blaming everyone else, bro? Like, this is 100% on you, and it's pretty obvious. But yeah, then she tries to go back to teaching just like nothing just happened. And obviously Ben is like, just like, his face is white, like all the, like he's freaking out. Which, like, look, I think, like, now if, like, a teacher said, I'm going to sue you for being mean to me, I at least have, I would be, like, a little freaked out, but at least a lot of me would know, okay, well, this has zero merit. This is, like, grounded in literally nothing. However, I would still be like, okay, this is at a minimum going to be a headache to deal with. and the fact that they're my teacher and control my grade is pretty annoying. But if I was in 6th grade and a teacher like heard me being like, oh, this person sucks, and then she's like, I'm gonna sue you, I would actually freak out because I was pretty gullible. And also, it's a 6th grader, bro. Like, you don't think that they're gonna like overreact on this? So obviously, he's pretty upset. And they all go back home. And when Colin gets back home, his mom's like, oh my God, like, Colin, like, did you weren't going to tell me about like what happened with Ben today? And Colin's like, relax, I just got back. Whoa. He's like, okay, yeah. The teacher, is she actually serious about this? So basically, all the parents had been abuzz. Like, they had just been talking with each other about this because, I mean, understandably, bro, like, this is a crazy situation. Like, this is insane. Like, a teacher actually says that she's going to sue one of her students for being a mean comment. So yeah, Colin's mom's like, well, yeah, all the moms have been talking and like, we're not going to let this slide, basically. Yeah, so basically the parents all came together and said, okay, if anything happens, we're going to band together and make sure that, Ben is fine. Like, they agree that maybe Ben shouldn't have called the teacher fat. Like, yeah, that's not a good thing to do, but obviously what the teacher is doing is so like unacceptable and a billion times worse, right? So at this point, they were kind of thinking, okay, what the teacher said is pretty crazy, and if nothing else happens, we might just approach the school administration to reprimand the teacher for just really stepping out of line. But for the minute, let's hold and wait to see what the teacher does. Because they were kind of thinking, okay, the teacher says, I'm going to sue this student. It was probably a scare tactic to like show other students like, oh, you should, I don't know, like, oh, you should fear me, you should be a good person, whatever. Terrible, terrible way to go about it, right? That is the most like ridiculous teaching method I've ever heard. Like, I've heard of a lot of some kind of like stranger teaching methods that are a bit more obscure. Like, there's the flipped classroom where you learn at home and do work at school. Like, bro, that sounds like the opposite of what you're supposed to be doing. There's teachers that refuse to teach the subject matter. My ninth grade geometry class, the teacher would refuse to answer any questions, but that was on purpose. Like, their idea was, they're gonna have to learn it themselves. I'm like, dude, I'm not some like it's 15th century mathematician genius who can just figure out like the Pythagorean theorem by myself. I'm not Pythagoras, bro. Well, I'm just some kid. But anyways, right, this is a crazy teaching. So they were like, you know what, we're just gonna hold back and wait. So the next day in school, the teacher wasn't bluffing because in class, Miss Sensitive, like, and when class starts, walks up to Ben and hands him basically an official court order or whatever. I don't think it was like an official court order. I think it was like she typed up a statement pretending to be a lawyer or whatever, being like, you're being sued for being mean or something. But she tried to make it as official as possible to give off the vibe to everyone that she was actually going through with this, which is just actually so insane. Imagine being so sensitive that that your student says something mean about you, so you threaten to sue them and try and sue them and like show off. Like, she's literally trying to have a power play to 6th graders. Dude, these are 6th graders. You're already in the position of power. You're the teacher. You don't need to be like, oh, well, I'm going to sue you, so you better do what I see. Dude, they're going to do what you say because you can get them in trouble. They don't want detention. They don't want a bad grade. Like, what? Yeah, so anyways, Colin gets back, and Colin's mom's like, hey, little update. The group of parents who were tonight, we have demanded a meeting with the school administration because of what happened today in class. So yeah, apparently the parents all got together. And basically what happened was that they all got together. They demanded a meeting with the school administration. The school administration's like, sure. The school administration had no idea what was going on. So even when they just said, oh, the teacher was like calling Ben out in front of everyone else, they're like, oh, that's a little tough. And then they're like, oh, you didn't hear the best part. She's saying that she's suing him and gave him an official lawyer letter today. And the school administration's like, come again? Like, whoa, come again? Yeah, so the school administration is like, whoa, like, that's really unacceptable. So, let me just say the Miss Sensitive was no longer a teacher at that school, which some of you guys might be thinking, oh, that's an overreaction. They can't fire her over that. Yeah, dude, they totally can fire her over that. That is like a breach of like teacher-student trust. You're going to sue a teacher? And also, you might be thinking, okay, well, she might have been fired from the school, but that doesn't mean that there's no, the lawsuit won't continue. Dude, there was no lawsuit the whole time. She made up the lawyer. She made a fake lawyer name. She made up the whole thing, and it was literally just a scare tactic to try and, like, prove how alpha she was and how, oh, I'm going to get my bullies back. Dude, they're not bullies. They're your students, dummy. Like, you could have just been like, look, you should be a good person. You don't have to pretend to sue them. So, yeah, not only did Miss Sensitive lose, like, her job, she also lost the fake court case that she started by herself.